All right, welcome to our monthly webinar for Microsoft. My name is Kristen Fehrenbach. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a lot of stuff to talk about this April, and if you've not joined these before, I want to say welcome in. These are going to be reoccurring each and every month, so we work really hard to make sure we're bringing you all of those pertinent updates that you will need through this next month. So the table of contents, we're going to go through some introductions really quick. We've got a lot of program updates. We have some really cool stuff coming. Want to make sure that you're prepared. Azure RIs. We actually have Wayman from Dropsuite. He's going to join in. We're going to talk about some backups and archive. We're going to talk about Dynamics Copilot. There's a lot of buzz going right now about Copilot. So we got some people going to come in and to talk through that. And then we always want to, go through why Azure Virtual Desktop. I think that's going to be a really great topic. So today for our presenters, if we can go on to the next one, like I said, I am Kristen Fehrenbach, the Senior Director of Microsoft Go-to-Market here at Pax8. We have Matt Batterby joining us today, Dynamics Guru. We've got Ashley Moretti, and we also have Caleb Lackey. So really excited to go through all of these topics with some of our experts today. Like I said, we also have Wayman from Dropsuite. So we're going to talk about why this third-party backup is so highly recommended. He's going to go through a really great presentation there. But I do want to go ahead and introduce Ashley Moretti. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you everybody for joining. My name is Ashley Moretti. I am the Director of Microsoft Programs, and I'm here to talk about our Microsoft Programs update. So this is just everything that you need to know that's currently going on in the market today and things to be paying attention to ensure that you are keeping your business and the Microsoft business specifically top of mind. First things first is MSRP. So right now with the big Microsoft NCE renewal season, this is something that we want to make sure you as partners are aware of how our platform works and what you need to know regarding ensuring you're charging your end customers the current price for Microsoft products. Pax8 as your your white glove service for everything. We do set the MSRP for you at the current MSRP at your initial order, but due to our contract with you guys, we do not own or manage the MSRP field after the first purchase. And the reason for this is because you are able to control your own margins and be able to charge your customers whatever price you want to for their Microsoft product. So post ordering, if there is a change in the MSRP for a current product, you as a partner are responsible for going into the Pax8 marketplace and updating that price to the current price in which you want to charge. The reason we bring this up is that with NCE contracts, this is something very new and we're in our first year of renewals, meaning you may have price locked a subscription at a lower price. You may have had a promotion on a subscription at a lower price. So when it renewed, that subscription renewed at the current MSRP, and you need to make sure that you're going in and adjusting that field in the Pax8 marketplace so you're charging your customers correctly. In some instances, you can find that your MSRP is too low, meaning that your margin is reduced because you're not setting it to the correct price as of today. In other cases, MSRP actually may be below your buy rate, meaning you're actually not receiving any margin because though the margins are slim maybe on that product and your pricing is set below your buy rate. We don't want that to happen. We want to make sure you're making all the money possible and building a profitable business. And then some common products that you could see or previously have seen a price increase at the renewal are those big six, right? Last year, Microsoft had some great promotions to move to new commerce experience. So there was, lock in before March 1st to ensure that you have the lowest pricing possible. There was a 5% discount if you were on an annual agreement on top of that. And then some things maybe had 100% promotion like audio conferencing. So again, if you have any questions about MSRP, make sure that you check in with your Pax8 representative and, they can be able to tell you. We also have a banner set in the platform. So if you log in, you'll be able to see all the information you need regarding this information to ensure that your pricing is up to date. Additionally, another thing, audio conferencing. So This one is kind of a long stretch here. You can see 2021, 2022, and 2023 all talked here, but it's something that we want to make sure that you are also aware of, because this year there were possibly some changes to pricing that you may have not been fully aware of. And so in 2021, Microsoft announced that audio conferencing would be included in all M365 suites starting March 2022. Remember, that's last year when NCE commitments were kicking off. But then last year, March 1st, Microsoft announced that audio conferencing would not be a built-in feature of the M365 suite, but rather customers would need to be on a new $0 SKU called Teams audio conferencing. And that would be free for the lifetime of the product, and you would need to move to that. Well, we do understand that that product was not available until March 24th, 2022. And a lot of you did sign audio conferencing contracts on NCE commitments prior to that. And so if you did that, you were sorry, Kristen just came on camera, so it caught me off guard. But if you did that, you were able to take advantage of M365 audio conferencing with 100% promotion. And so with that, again, promotions did fall off at the NCE renewal, so we want to make sure that you're renewing on the right product and have the right pricing. So going into 2023, if you have an upcoming renewal and you are on M365 audio conferencing, we just want to make sure that you do know that that promotion will fall off. That will go to the current MSRP, which is not $0. And if you need to utilize the $0 free product, you will need to make the switch to Teams audio conferencing for your customers. Kristen, you coming off camera usually means we have some questions. Man, I thought I could get away with it, but Microsoft programs, we know it's super complicated and complex. So what do we got? I'm here to answer those.
Perfect. So there's always a couple that come through. So we're answering some on the back end, but I think this is a good one to talk about, and it's from Curtis. Is this only an issue if our clients are ordering through the Pax8 portal?
I assume this is for the MSRP,
Yes.
but yeah, so if it's for MSRP, I'll go back to that slide so you guys can see it again. Yeah, so if you're purchasing through, whether it's you purchasing for your customer or you have a bill on behalf of customer, yes, this is something that is in the Pax8 marketplace and all those orders and all those subscriptions that are tied through Pax8. So yes. Any other questions?
I think we're just going to answer these and we're going to keep on rolling. So go right ahead.
All right. Perfect. Okay. So another thing, this is for our EMEA partners only, but it's also still super important and probably most top of mind for you guys right now. The currency exchange rates, right? Microsoft is making changes to the way that they are going to market and charging customers in the EMEA region. On January 5th of this year, or 5th of January, Microsoft announced that they were going to align the pricing of Microsoft Cloud products globally, starting April 1st, which was just a few days ago. And the following currencies, right? We have 5 here. You can see the increase in exchange rates that were going to be applied on Modern Workplace and Dynamics products. This is something super important because these are huge price increases for you. And so what does this mean for you being a Pax8 partner? Well, on April 1st, we did update all of our products in the platform to reflect the current pricing. So if you're curious on what a pricing for a product would be in your region, you can navigate to the Pax8 marketplace, and all the prices are updated now with these current FX rates. And additionally, any new NCE commitment that would be placed on this current pricing. If you've had an NCE commitment that's already locked in prior to April 1, those NCE commitments are price locked for their full duration of the term. So if it's a month-to-month contract, you wouldn't see a price increase on that subscription until next month. If it is an annual contract, you will see a price increase at your annual NCE commitment term renewal. If you are on legacy, your legacy subscriptions are also still price locked through the billing renewal date. And if you have any questions on any of those dates, like how do I find my billing renewal date for legacy, or how do I find my NCE commitment renewal date for NCE, you can just navigate to the subscription in the Pax8 marketplace, and it's right there up on the top for you. Kristen, you popped off, but then you popped off again.
I'm just testing you at this point. So
Yeah.
We had a question from Daniel, and he's saying that many of the subscriptions, they tend to include the audio conferencing. So if the subscription already includes that, is it still free?
Yeah, so if you are on one of the more premium products, the M365 E5, and there's some Office 365 products as well, yes, if it's included in the product, you do not need to purchase a $0 SKU. You're automatically getting audio conferencing with the base licensing that you have, but not all products do include audio conferencing. So our business products, right, basic, standard, premium, do not include that. I think O365 E3 does not include audio conferencing. So those are the products. In order to utilize it for free, you would need to attach the Teams audio conferencing products.
Perfect. And then I think that this one is regarding audio conferencing, but it says, so there's no worries if the client is using Business Premium or E5. This one could be doing with audio conferencing. It could be MSRP, but I think this one came in during the audio conferencing.
Yeah, so I'll just answer both in case it's both. So
yes,
MSRP applies to all products, right? So if you had a renewal, it is just best practice to go in and double check those products to make sure that they are at the current MSRP, because all of the promotions did fall off at your renewal unless you're on a new promotion. And then for audio conferencing, again, audio conferencing is only needed for products that do not include it in the standard base license. When I say base license, that means your base, like, right, your business licensing or your M365 licensing. If the variation of that license does not include audio conferencing, then you would be able or eligible and would need to, if you want to utilize the services, purchase Teams audio conferencing. I'm going to keep saying Teams because there's Microsoft audio conferencing, that's paid. Teams audio conferencing is free. You just need to attach that as an add-on license to your base subscription.
Excellent. And one more clarifying question, and we'll keep on rolling through some slides. But Gerald's asking if there's any news on Microsoft allowing us to cancel committed licensing where the customer no longer exists.
Yeah, so NCE commitments are contractual based, right? So each party involved is responsible for that subscription through the duration of its term. With that, it is, I will just say, very difficult to get out of an NCE commitment. I always recommend that if you have a customer who's in that situation, they went bankrupt, they're no longer in business, whatever it may be, open up a Microsoft support ticket to see if there is any option for you to submit supporting documentation and get out of that contract. But Microsoft is pretty, I would say, not flexible on letting those contracts terminate early. All right, so with that, we're going to move on to the next program updates, and I apologize, we have a lot, but there's a lot going on for you guys in the marketplace. So just want to make sure that you are aware of everything you need to know. Okay, so GDAP. We've been talking about GDAP on this series since it started, the inception, and the reason for that, it is super top of mind for everybody to be focusing on GDAP. GDAP stands for Granular Delegated Admin Privileges, and this is the new form of DAP, which is Delegated Admin Privileges. The reason to move GDAP even exists today is because it is super important to be locking down customer tenants to make sure that only those who have access or need access are the only ones who can gain access into that tenant. We want to make sure that there's no fraud on customer tenants, and there is no I don't know what they're called, but when somebody hacks you and you get locked out, right, we want to make sure that we keep it super high and tight, and that's what GDAP does. So with GDAP, it allows us and you as partners to be able to have specific access into a tenant based on a role and a relationship with that tenant. We have a lot of information on GDAP and what that means. I'm not going to go into too many details. with GDAP, right, we have a lot of great resources for you if you're still learning about GDAP and how to implement it or how to utilize our Pax8 tool to get started. And so I would reach out to your Pax8 representative for that information. They can send it to you if you need it, or you can rewatch some of our previous recordings of these webinars. But the most important thing is what is happening next. So Microsoft will start to transition all DAP relationships to GDAP for customer tenants starting May 22nd, 2023. And so if you as a partner have not taken action to initiate GDAP between either you and your end customer or Pax8 and your end customer, Microsoft will do that for you on starting May 22nd of this year. If Microsoft does this initiation for you, they will leave the DAP relationship on the tenant, but will remove that 30 days later. Moving forward, if you have established a GDAP relationship on your end customer tenant, either between you and your end customer, Pax8 and your end customer, before May 22nd, Microsoft will not do anything to that relationship, meaning they won't overwrite it. They're not going to make any transitions for you, right? You already have GDAP established. However, if the DAP relationship is still on the tenant, Microsoft will remove those starting July 2023. So they'll leave them on there for now, but know that they will go and remove that. And then if Microsoft does initiate the relationship move for you, they will go ahead and they will work with a specific set of roles, which you can see here in the blue-green color. And those will be automatically implemented as the default instances. All right, we're going to move in. Apologies. I'm going to be looking over here because the new screen is over here. So if you see me looking that way, not that I'm ignoring you guys, still talking to you, still here, but Azure RIs. So this is the last and final kind of programs updates, but this is probably one of the biggest, newest ones that we have to share with you. So Pax8 as a provider is moving Azure RIs from our platform into a self-service portal that ties into the Azure marketplace with Microsoft. And the reason for this is just so we can make sure that with all the new pricing changes that are happening across the region, pricing is 100% clear and crisp for you when you go and purchase an Azure RI. I will clarify that this is just for new Azure reserved and user subscriptions. If you have an existing Azure RI subscription, you do not need to worry about this change just yet. But if you're continuing to sell those to your end customers, this is something important that you need to know. Starting May 1st, 2023, so just about a month from now, we'll be shifting to that model. And so this will allow partners to be able to purchase RIs, and we're also going to be offering savings plans at that point through the Azure Management Portal, and they will no longer be eligible to purchase the Pax8 Marketplace. However, we want to make sure that we tie those subscriptions back to, your billing with Pax8, and there is a way for us to do that. You as the partner would check out an Azure plan SKU for your customer tenant, $0 SKU in our platform. And then when you go into the Azure Management Portal through Microsoft and you provision an RI, you will actually be prompted to select what Azure plan subscription you want to tie that reserved instance or savings plans when those are released as well to. That will then allow us to be able to, manage your Azure RI subscriptions and your billing and all of that. You will also be able to now do a self-service upgrade, downgrade, and cancel in the Azure portal directly since everything is just tied to Azure plan. And again, the partners with existing Azure RIs will not see any changes. Those will remain in the marketplace with Pax8 until we do go ahead and move those over. That date is to be determined, and we will make sure that we notify everybody when we're making the shift for existing RIs to Azure plan. All right, so how it works, I went over this a little bit, but we'll just double tap on this. So check out, right? You'll go into the Pax8 Marketplace, check out a $0 product called Azure Plan, and then you'll be able to navigate to the Azure portal for provisioning of Azure RIs and savings plans. And again, it will prompt you in that process to pick an Azure subscription, Azure plan subscription. You want to tie that the Azure RI or savings plan to. And then billing. Because we're moving to Azure Plan, you'll see Azure Plan now on your invoices, but there will be a line item for each Azure product. And so you'll still be able to see what is being charged on the Azure Plan. These will also include the new FX rates. Those for Azure actually change monthly. It's very different than Modern Workplace or Dynamics, which are now changing every 6 months. So this will allow you also to have the most current pricing. And then just some things here, if we're in the in-between, on April 1st, it will be the last day for bill ahead, meaning partners will pay for all of April on the Azure RI just like they do today. And then they will not see an invoice until the next invoice till June. So we'll skip a month. And that's because Azure RIs being on Azure Plan are going to go into an arrears-based model. So we're going to make that shift and you'll actually pay for services after you use them. And then PSA, again, it's always important for you to check your PSA, make sure it syncs to the correct pricing because a customer can have multiple Azure plans. So it's super important that we make sure that we're syncing those and that you're charging your customers the most accurate price. And Kristen is back. Kristen.
Yes, ma'am. A couple things on Azure RI. So will other Azure subscriptions that are non-RI be impacted by these changes?
Yeah, so other Azure subscriptions are already billed through an Azure plan, so they will not be impacted versus Azure RIs is the last and final product that is moving to the new commerce experience platform, which is Azure Plan technically and being billed this way. We are actually one of the last distributors to market with this. And that's just because we've had a lot of changes with NCE in the past year, and it really didn't impact us until these FX pricing changes came for the regions outside of North America. And so that's why we're moving to this model, is to just make sure that you have the most clear and up to date pricing for all of your products, and everything is in one place now.
Excellent, excellent. Will there be I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this one. So is there going to be any changes on the RI process? Do they need to reach out to the account managers, or how do they know how this process works?
Yeah, so there will be a change, right, for a new order. So let's talk about what this looks like today, because we haven't launched this new Azure RI model. Today, if you need to purchase an Azure RI, you navigate to the Pax8 Marketplace, you navigate to your customer, and then you purchase a product in our platform that's tied to the RI that you need. And then you go through the process and you check it out, right? What's happening is you're actually now going to navigate to the Pax8 Marketplace. You're going to purchase an Azure plan for that customer if they don't have one or you need a new one. Remember, it's $0. It's a free product, and that's going to enable you to have the ability to order your Azure RIs and savings plans through the Azure portal. So you'll be able to manage everything on your own through the Azure portal with Microsoft, and then you'll just tie it back to the Azure plan subscription that you want to bill those charges to. So that's the before, and that's what's going to look like. We're also working on the enablement materials for all the partners. So don't worry, this is not the only training you'll get. We'll have a walking deck like we do for every other program change like GDAP or NCE. And so we'll have some how-to videos also recorded and linked into those walking decks. So as soon as those are available, we will make sure that you have access to those through your channel account team. All right, I think that ties it up for me. Thanks, you guys. I know that was a lot. Again, if you ever have any questions about Microsoft programs, please reach out to your Pax8 representative, and we can certainly walk you through it. We know it's not the easiest or the most simple to adopt, but that's what we're here for we're here to make it easy for you. And with that, I'm going to hand it on over to Layman to talk about Dropsuite backup and archiving.
Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it. Let me. Are you able to hear me now? Quick mic
We
check.
sure can.
Awesome. And is it going to allow me to share my screen? It's always the big one.
Dun, dun, dun. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Looks like it is loading and we are ready to go. We can see you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for attending. Again, I'm Wayman from Dropsuite. We are a backup and archiving vendor that runs through Pax8's marketplace. So as we go through this, we'll talk about a bunch of different things. Hopefully this is relevant. We really try to position this as more educational of why backup and archiving is important to you as an MSP. And hopefully we focus on that a lot more than just the overall sales side of it and really pushing Dropsuite. It's more talking about backup and archiving in general. Oh, is it gonna let me switch screens now? Of course not. There we go. So who we are real quick, just so you get a background of Dropsuite in general. We're obviously a global company, roughly in 100 different countries, well north of 1 million users. Some of the brands that we currently are representing that use our products, we have things like PGA Tour, Major League Baseball, Red Bull, some very large global manufacturing companies, hospitals, large accounting firms. So we kind of play in a lot of different realms. When people ask about, what's a sweet spot, I think when you refer to backup and archiving, there's not really a sweet spot. I think there's pretty much any industry out there should be utilizing backup at its basic functionality and go into archiving as we get into more compliance and regulated industries. But again, obviously it's a mission critical for cyber defense, and we'll get into this as we continue to go along. And one of the things that it also provides is a scalable reoccurring revenue model. Being pure SaaS, MSP, channel-focused company, that's where we play. And as all of you know firsthand, Office 365 is a fantastic cloud platform. Millions of businesses are using it, running successfully, and it's still growing. But we can all imagine if one day, or we could probably do a show of hands if we were in a room, how many of you have received that frantic phone call where somebody either couldn't access an old email, attachment, a calendar, a task? Even bigger, is there a SharePoint file, a OneDrive, groups, teams? If something went missing, it's a potential crisis that you guys face. So again, we could do the raise of hands of how many's done that or been there or experienced it or go through, some examples, but we know that that's something that we definitely want to protect ourselves against. Again, protecting files from being stolen, blocked, held captive, destroyed, internal malicious attacks, any of that. And if you look at backup and archiving, this is really something that helps you solidify your reputation and help you continue to be a trusted advisor for all your clients. The challenge that we all face, and I think, we don't have to really talk about this a ton because I think it's understood in the market, but, 90% of cybersecurity attacks now start via email. The other thing that we're seeing, and, I'm sure we could talk to some of the MSPs on here, the MSPs are starting to get, their targets, that's the new targets, it's the one-to-many approach. So as the malicious vendors out there are going, they're targeting the MSPs. They know that they can go to an MSP, attack them, go in and do some type of data breach, and that's going to be, you could find 20, 50, 100 different clients from that one MSP. So it's protecting yourself, it's also protecting your clients. I think the opportunity that's there is we're seeing an increase. I think massive may be a little bit different when we initially did this, but there's a bigger increase in budgets and it's being allocated to their cybersecurity. End users are understanding that the backup and restoration of their data is something that's absolutely going to be critical as we move forward. And as we look at it, no Office 365 security strategy is complete without having a backup of your client's data handy in the cloud, easily restorable to any previous point in time that they may need. And all Office 365 backup should be comprehensive. That's something else that we need to look at. Are you backing up calendars, contacts, tasks? More importantly, obviously Exchange is a big one, but SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, groups. Are you backing up as many Office 365 apps as you possibly can? The antivirus software, it's not 100% foolproof. Endpoint security tools can't guarantee, with 100% accuracy of data safety. Real-time threat monitoring is great, but it's not like, it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole on a daily basis. To round out a full security or full security bundle, adding in a backup and archiving solution is something that's absolutely critical. So now let's get into the big one. I think for me, this is the more powerful statement. Whether you realize this or not, when you go in and start up any tenant with Microsoft and you agree to their service terms, Clause 6B specifically says that Microsoft recommends you regularly back up your content and data using a third-party app. That obviously is where we fall in, and any continuity solution recovers and helps you out in this Clause 6B. The other thing is, if you go in, you can do a simple Google search of M365 ransomware recovery. What Microsoft says here is they actually double down off of their Clause 6B. Their first step, verify your backups. So this is Microsoft telling you 2 different times, we recommend prior to or as you're setting this up, putting in a third-party solution. Then again, if something does happen, they go in and their first thing is, let's verify your backups. I think another example of this, if anybody's ever done a migration using a tool similar like a BitTitan, if you go into a migration, Microsoft comes in and says source and destination. They don't care about the data. They're providing you the platform. When Microsoft recognizes their 4 nines of uptime, it's all about the availability of the platform. It has nothing to do with the availability of the data. And this is them going in and telling you as an MSP, Clause 6B, use a third-party app to regularly back up your data. And let me go to the next one. I think this is where it is. There's a big perception versus reality. What's being backed up and what's being recoverable through Microsoft and their we say native tools. There's really no native backup, even in an E3 and E5 SKU. It's all around different legal holds, not necessarily the compliance of it. And the perception of what people think are being backed up versus what's actually backed up. And there's a big misalignment in the market. And this was confirmed by a third-party research firm. How MSPs see data protection differently versus your clients. When end users were surveyed, right at 100, just a tad bit under 100%, 99.3, I think, assumed their data was being backed up, assumed it was fully restorable, whether they were paying for it or not. The other concerning part is they held their MSPs 100% responsible. So they're assuming it's restorable, they're assuming it's backed up, they're assuming it's recoverable. At no point in time did any of them come up and think that Microsoft was the one that was responsible for it. They assumed that their MSP was taking care of this and held them 100% responsible. So again, this goes back to, your reputation, you being that trusted advisor and adding that value in that relationship that you bring forward. So going into a user experience, what to look for in a vendor, what to look for as you're evaluating backup vendors. And again, we go through the automation. Is it set it and forget it functionality, meaning you're not having to go in and manually look at, do we have enough data? Do we have enough storage? Is SharePoint being backed up? Is Teams being backed up? Are we looking at the ease of use when it comes to the restorability? For us, we're built from the end user to the MSP as opposed to MSP focus, meaning you don't have to have an internal SME, somebody that knows this, somebody that's monitoring it in real time, running manually running backups. And then again, if you go in and start with a backup, and let's say we all know with what's going on through the government now, if your industry becomes regulated, are you going to have to migrate that data? For us, if you go from a backup solution into an archive solution, it's nothing more than a click of a button, and you could become fully compliant and meet any type of regulatory needs, whether it's FINRA, HIPAA, ISO 27001. Any of those will fit all those models going into an archive solution, and still it's still maintained through a single pane of glass. Keep going through here. So we'll go through a little bit of, now I'm going to get into a little bit more Dropsuite wise. It just came out into last year for the 3rd year in a row. We finished #1 in software reviews. against some of the major players there. That's the third year in a row that we finished in the top right of this category. And some of the reasons that we see from our partners and what we've heard through software reviews is that the integration of the product, whether it's the provisioning, the billing, the support, going through Pax8 is absolutely your best user experience utilizing Dropsuite with the integrations they have, the billing, the support, the knowledge that they have internally. That's your best experience, and that's why, again, why I'm excited to be able to present today with the Pax8 team. The exceptional user experience, the cutting-edge cloud platform. We're constantly innovative, releasing new tools, releasing new features. We listen to our partners. If there's anything that you guys ever need from us or want to see, by all means, reach out. And that's how we roadmap our product. Kristen, I see you. Come on. What questions do you have?
We sure do. No, this is great. And we have a couple comments in the chat, but somebody's saying that, is there a way to possibly escalate any of these issues that go through Pax8 support? So if they have a customer that's having a fire, an emergency, something that needs immediate assistance, is there anything that they can do to try to get this resolved in a quicker manner?
Yeah, great question. And that's one of the things we see. So we work so closely with Pax8, obviously as a partner and with the Pax8 relationship. Tier 1's always going to be through Pax8. That being said, we have a full-on global support team that works hand in hand with Pax8. If you need to reach out to us directly, there's always support at. And then what we'll do is start to work the ticket on our side and escalate it internally, and then include Pax8 so that we know that we're working in tandem with them. And that's always in a what I would say a high impact or something that's a big emergency. You're more than welcome to use us directly, and we always go back and include the Pax8 team to get them assistance, or if it's a learning process or something that we need to address on a bigger scale, we'll absolutely do that. But you can always come to us, and we just work, like I said, we work in tandem with Pax8.
Excellent, excellent. There's one more. It's a little long, so I'm going to try to paraphrase the best we can here. So this person is just asking, is there any changes coming down the pipe for account mailbox, individual user accounts deactivation? They're saying that they love Dropsuite, but terming in users has always been kind of a pain point.
Yep. So another question that we're hearing more and more, especially as we're approaching five years into this relationship with Pax8. So what I would recommend, reach out to your CSE or CSM, talk to them directly about, your specific use case. There are options for, managing those deactivated mailboxes, those thresholds, but reach out directly to them. They'll work with us and our team, and we'll see how we can best address your issues. But absolutely, it's a question that you should have with your Pax8 team members, and we'll work with them to help you out along that journey. But that's a very great
I said it was only one
yes,
more.
we can help you. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I said there was one more, but then another one came in, and I think it's a good one to talk about. But it's what's the difference between Dropsuite Business Backup and Dropsuite Business Backup plus Email Archive?
Yep. So that's another one that we hear on a regular basis. So backup is going to be very comparable to, obviously any backup vendor out there. There's some key differences, but in our backup solution, we go in and back up 12 times a day, every 2 hours. And in archive, this is at its core, this is the biggest difference. With the archiving product, we're going to catch it in real time, meaning there's no chance which I've never done it, but if you went in and delete and then deleted your deleted mailbox and then went in and hit your recycle and completely deleted in that 2 hour span, there's potential for data loss, and we wouldn't catch that. In archiving, we catch it in real time, so there's no chance that we would lose any data. We're going to catch everything. There's also the compliance tools that come in where you can go into, if it's e-discovery, legal hold, if there's any chance that they could be in any type of litigation, archiving is what you're going to want to use. But at its core, the easiest answer is backup catches every 2 hours, archive catches in real time, and it'll be a fully compliant product.
That is perfect. And then is Dropsuite ITAR compliant by chance?
ITAR is one. That's what we need to talk about. There's different levels. ITAR, yes and no. It depends on the level of compliance that they're looking for. If you're looking at high and medium, we fit some of the medium ones. High, we don't. But low and medium, there's some different ones that we get into. It's a great discussion that you should have, honestly, with your CSE team. And then from there, they could bring us in the loop, and we could bring in some of our security officers and have that in-depth discussion. But depends on exactly what you're looking for on the compliance side.
Excellent. I'll let you keep on rolling.
Perfect. Again, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I know I'm going to come into some time constraints here. Again, what to look for: is it fully automated? Is it simple pricing? Is it, again, per user, per month, no hidden fees? Meaning, if you hit a storage limit, do you have to add additional storage? We provide all the storage. If you add SharePoint or OneDrive, do your fees go up? It doesn't happen with us. We're it's a fully managed system. SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Groups, everything's included in your simple month-to-month pricing. There's no long-term contracts. There's no minimums. If you have a 100-user company and you only want to back up 50, you can do that. Again, looking at the number of backups a day. I'll get a little bit more into the IUR program or NFR program, however you want to say it, but you as a partner, you can come in, we'll out of the gate provide you 10 free NFR license for you to, again, use the product yourself, test it, see if it works for you, and then roll out to your customer base. The free export and import of data, we do not hold your data hostage at all. You can import data from a current solution provider into us. We'll import it for free. If you ever want to export it, you can export it for free also. We do not hold it. We want to rest on the value and the quality of the product, not necessarily holding your data hostage. Again, the single vendor for backup and archiving, encryption, security, I think that goes without saying. The 256 military grade, in transit, at rest, is it fully compliant? Are the data centers fully compliant? And then can you pretty much check the box on any regulatory issue that you would have? Resource alignment, I think I'm running up on time, so I'll kind of speed through this. But again, if there's anything you ever need from us in sales, marketing, readiness, support that we just addressed with Kristen, and I think somebody had asked that question earlier, the margins there, the opportunity to create reoccurring revenue, the simplicity, the reliability, no month-to-month contracts, those are things to look for. This is one that we're super proud of. In your launch kit inside of your Pax8 marketplace, there's actually an opt-out solution. One of the partners we worked with in creating this a few years ago, they went in, they sent out an opt-out solution, basically told all of their clients that over the next 90 days, they'll be implementing a backup because of Clause 6B. They did it through an educational process. Clause 6B says this: we're here to protect you. If you do not want this to be on your monthly bill, please contact us. If not, over the next 90 days, you'll see an increase of basically $3 per user. Now, they went in, 86 of the 88 customers went on. 2 of them didn't, which in a 90-day process, the ones that came back and said they don't want it, those 2 actually came back. So we just went off the initial opt-out, sent out the contracts, went in, implemented Dropsuite, and increased their MRR or ARR of over $30,000 a year. So really cool that we were able to work through that. That's, again, your CSE team or CSMs within Pax8 can help you find this, and also go through a plan of what a rollout would look like for you as an MSP to your end users. And there's a couple different ways that you can do this, but they're very well versed to help you guys out and help you monetize your M365 customer base. And again, going through this, this is the last slide. Wanted to end on this. Our partners, 97% of them are likely, the likeliness to recommend to other MSPs, 100% plan to renew, and then the satisfaction that cost is fair relative to the value of the product. And I think these kind of speak to, most of these MSPs that were surveyed were through Pax8. I think it speaks to the phenomenal user experience that you have going through Pax8, and then speaks to the quality of the product that Dropsuite has to offer you. That being said, we'll end on that. I'll open it up to Q&A. Is there anything that I missed? Anything that we want to address further? Any questions from the partners out there?
We have one more question before we move on, but can you speak about Dropsuite with Dynamics 365 Finance?
So, great question. Don't know that I can talk about it in this forum. We are in the process of releasing a couple new products. Actually, today we had a new product launch. Dynamics is something we're heavily looking at. That's the next, without saying too much on this big of a call, that'll be the next product that we're looking at rolling out. Exactly when, that part I don't have visibility into, but it's definitely on our radar. It's number one on our to be released, but at this moment we don't offer that.
All right. Well, I feel like Matt's ears are going to be burning with all this Dynamics talks. Wayman, thank you so much for joining us today. A lot of really good stuff.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And
Thanks.
if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out.
Perfect. All right, Matt, welcome on today. We had a little bit of Dynamics talk going on already, which I know you get excited about.
I do. My geek senses were singling right there when he was talking about Dynamics being the next product. So yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I'm here today to talk a little bit about Dynamics 365 Copilot, just introduce it a little bit. You may have seen other references. You know, I know Copilot is much bigger than just Dynamics 365, but I've been really impressed by what I've seen from Dynamics, and also every time I've presented this out, it's blown people's minds. So I figured I would do a little bit of a talk around that today. But before I go into actually what is Dynamics 365 Copilot, I thought I would just highlight the opportunity a little bit with what actually this could mean. So a few stats here that I've saw. So 9 out of 10 workers hope to use AI to reduce repetitive tasks. I see this all the time with Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform, and reducing repetitive tasks is a conversation that comes up time and time again. If there's anything remotely repetitive that a user is doing, you know, they're utilizing Power Automate to simplify those processes, reduce human error. As I was talking to someone today and saying, if it's a repetitive task, there's actually more chance that you're going to make an error, because if it's one of those brainless tasks that you can do whilst watching Netflix, probably, you're probably more likely to watch Netflix or listen to a podcast or something while you're doing it. And then that's when the human errors come in. So definitely looking at AI. It's currently marketed around $136 billion global AI market valuation. And this is actually due to grow around 13 times over the next 7 years to around $1.81 trillion by 2030. So huge opportunity there. In fact, 83% of companies claim that AI is a top priority of investment for them. So I really wanted to highlight some of the AI opportunities that we're seeing and how Copilot is really going to support that. And again, 60% of SMBs that are not using AI today are actually interested in starting to use AI. So everything that we've seen coming out around Copilot, in fact, what we'll do, I'm going to go straight into a little bit of a video. You should get the audio. If you don't, I'm sure I'll see Kristen's face pop up if you don't hear the audio.
9 out of 10 workers said that automation and AI-powered tools would help them focus on meaningful work. Introducing Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot, AI-powered assistance to get more done with less effort and take on the tasks that keep you from the work that matters. From summarizing meeting notes, complete with action items and follow-up dates, to helping you get started with emails and content. Whether you're a seller following up with a proposal, a marketer promoting a new product, or a service agent providing world-class customer support, Copilot is there when you need it to suggest responses, documents, and ideas in the moment, and get help just by asking in a conversational way. Copilot features can help write a compelling product description for online stores, or help find the right audience simply by typing who they want to reach. Copilot can even help with your supply chain by predicting risks before they become a problem, and provide clear steps to take action. Copilot is built into Dynamics 365 using artificial intelligence developed responsibly by Microsoft, empowering employees to deliver better customer experiences and drive efficiency across the organization. Dynamics 365 Copilot, the world's first AI copilot in both CRM and ERP.
So that's a really nice introductory video into Copilot. I would strongly recommend having a little look on YouTube for the individual videos for the individual SKUs. So for example, sales, customer service, and business central. There is a reason why I'm focusing in on these three during this session. Around 85% of all sales through the SMB indirect channel are these three SKUs. So it's definitely worth putting in the focus here into sales, customer service, and business central. So just to touch a little bit on what you're getting with Copilot across all three of these. So within Dynamics 365 sales, you know, enabling. So I was already impressed by the productivity in Dynamics 365 sales, how it basically enables you to better write responses. And now with Copilot, essentially writes those responses for you. So if you're someone who's new to sales, new to an organization, the way that they speak to their customers and the messaging, it actually basically writes out those emails in response to a sales query or anything like that. So there's, again, I strongly recommend checking out the Dynamics 365 sales video because it is next level in terms of how it's going to improve a seller's productivity. And again, when you go into the customer service SKU as well, essentially Copilot is now going to draft up contextual answers based on queries in both chat and email. So whether it's a chatbot or email query, it's going to actually write out basically the correct response. So if someone's got a really complex customer service query and it's been dealt with before, the system will essentially recognize that and be able to write out a response. And again, it enables a user to personalize that response, make it sound more like it's come from you, but saving time on having to drill down into what is the customer service query. Do we have that in our knowledge management in Dynamics 365, or do I need to go searching on the internet for an answer? So really streamlining those processes for customer service agents. So being able to actually boost how many queries that they can respond to using AI. And then in Business Central, this one I really like. So essentially with the Shopify integrations, if, for example, a business wanted to upload a new product into a website, into an online website for their customer-facing store, typically you're going to upload an image, you're going to put some kind of description of the product, and you want to make it look potentially funky, you want to make it stand out, you want to make it look good on your website. And so many businesses currently outsource all that kind of marketing, especially in the SMB space, where typically they don't have a marketing team. They might have a marketing person, but they might not. What Business Central now with Copilot is actually enabling is if you upload an image to Business Central, it essentially analyzes that image and writes out the description for you. You can also personalize it. So that's why I mentioned the word funky in the description. Essentially, you can say, do you want it to be super professional? Do you want it to be a little bit more quirky? Do you want it to have a opening statement followed by a description? How do you want that to look to fit in with the rest of your website and branding? So again, really simplifying the approach for an SMB business, saving money on potentially outsourcing marketing and being able to do so much more automated through Copilot. So some really, really great examples of functionality that's coming to Dynamics 365 within the solutions itself. It's not some sort of additional license they need to purchase. This will be within their current licensing. Like I say, there's some great examples for marketing, supply chain, finance as well, where Copilot is really going to come in handy. But I really wanted to focus in on these three in particular, because this is where we see the majority of the sales. Sorry, Kristen, I've seen you've popped up now. I didn't have your face showing. Sorry, I don't know how long you've been there.
No, you're good. No, I just came on camera. I think everybody knows the sign now on the front end when he says, hey, Kristen's on camera. So Dave's asking, is there any news on when maybe Copilot betas are going to be available? They're looking to maybe test these out and learn before we obviously pass these on to customers.
Yeah, so interestingly, the BizApps launch event is actually tomorrow. So I think I'm going to, like anything that I don't have an answer for, I think I'm going to learn tomorrow during that launch event. And that's what I would highly recommend to anyone is if you want to learn more around these and the other latest releases from the release wave, sign up to that Microsoft Business Applications launch event. I imagine that's where this kind of information is going to come out.
Amazing. I assume that we're going to continue talking about Copilot. I know it's going to be a really big thing. So this is going to be something that's probably going to be really repetitive on these as we learn more information as this continues to come out. But Madeline is asking Matt that, she can't seem to find information on Copilot for D365 Finance, asking if we can speak to that specifically. Or is that going to be more coming after tomorrow?
Probably more coming after tomorrow. What I can do, I don't know if you've seen the two main blogs, and Madeline, I can respond to you once I've handed off, and I can type to you in chat. But I'll pass off the two main blogs that they've released so far. But then I would strongly advise signing up to that Microsoft Business Applications launch event. So then just to close out this section and just transition slightly, some of the partners on here, you're familiar with Dynamics, some partners potentially not so familiar, and how can we support? So really wanted to just highlight a little bit around our, how we're activating so many partners. I've actually received a statistic today that we have activated a ton of partners in 2023 selling their first Dynamics 365 licenses, and that was data that we've been sent from Microsoft in the US. So really, really exciting, and it's great that we're doing such a good job of enabling partners to transact Dynamics. So by all means, reach out if this is something you're interested in. But we are able to activate partners. We're providing Dynamics 365 sales training, so you can spot opportunities, unlock those opportunities, and move forward. We're supporting from a go-to-market perspective, enabling you to access your Cloud Ascent data. If you've never heard the term Cloud Ascent before, you definitely need to reach out to us. There's so much opportunity within that data set as well, and enabling partners to accelerate. I always have to put some kind of 8 in there. I'm still fairly new to Pax8, so I get all excited when I put a word like accelerate and put an 8 on the end. But yeah, we can enable you to really go to market with Dynamics, and with all the things coming in Copilot, there really has never been a better time and never an easier time to go to market with Dynamics with Pax8. So yeah, I will hand over to Caleb.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. It's really hard to not get excited about the future in AI. So especially all the demos coming out with Copilot with all the clouds, really, really exciting stuff. So I know you mentioned a little bit about Cloud Ascent data, so I have you back there because I'm going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of my session as well. But I wanted to get into just a few minutes to talk about Azure Virtual Desktop and some of the offers that we have here at Pax8. So my name is Caleb Blackie. I'm the Microsoft Programs Manager in Americas. So I cover North America. So some of the offers here that I'll mention are a little bit exclusive to US only or Canada only, but there's a lot of really great global opportunity with Azure Virtual Desktop, and a lot of offers as well that will cover all regions here. So the great thing is Azure has a ton of global data centers, so being able to use AVD in these opportunities, there's an incredible opportunity with a partner no matter where you're located and based out of. So just covering at a high level, why is virtualization important? A lot of this comes down to some of the opportunities that were created coming out of COVID. Of course, there was always a really strong opportunity with AVD before then as well, but we're just seeing new opportunities in the last few years as well that has really accelerated that growth. And so there's a lot of costs and everything that can be offboarded to Microsoft and towards the cloud that really help alleviate your concerns, your customers' concerns as well, when there's a lot of opportunity there. So when we look at virtualization, uncovering AVD opportunities, there's a lot of really great things that I'll show you throughout this towards the end as well, on just identifying those customer opportunities and then acting on those. And Pax8 wants to definitely be a part of that journey and help you if you are familiar with AVD, grow your knowledge, and if you are just getting started and maybe you don't work with Azure currently, AVD is a great starting point. We have lots of enablement that can help with that. Partner enablement sessions, hands-on labs, especially in the US that we've been providing these last few months. And then of course at Pax8 bootcamps and offers through our professional services as well. And so when we look at our customer opportunity here, so before I kind of mentioned that security, or that there was a strong driving force before COVID, and that was security and regulation. Not that that's gone down at all since the last few years. There's just been other things that have been also kickstarted within the last 3 years when we go to remote work. But when you look at security and regulation, still very popular today when you're looking at these different verticals, financial services, healthcare, government, there's a lot of compliance and a lot of things that come in to certifications that when it comes to owning your own data center or operating out of other data centers, that there's a lot to take in and be responsible for. So working through AVD and getting that virtualization and working through all those that compliance and everything being owned by the cloud provider like Microsoft, there's a huge opportunity there to alleviate your stress and worrying about some of these frameworks where you can help offload some of those responsibilities to Microsoft, knowing that they're compliant and that you can read into that documentation to know exactly what's being covered by Microsoft and what that responsibility falls through. So also looking at elastic workforce, last few years, of course, this has been uplifted as well when we look at MSP mergers and acquisitions, or just company mergers and acquisitions. During that time, having the flexibility with AVD and that virtualization. Short-term employees, retail is a huge factor in this when we look at like seasonal employees, or even like contractor and partner access as well. When you need to scale up and scale down, having that virtualization capability to not maximize your cost and being able to really use what you need to use when you need to use it and only pay for that is just a huge successful opportunity for you to work with these different industries as well. And then we look at remote employees over the last few years. Again, I mean, I'm going to keep using that because of the last 3 years of how the dynamic has changed, where we're not working in office so much, and that, you know, bring your own device and like mobile devices and everything are getting more popular. The ability to have your employees not work directly in an office but still be protected and secure with AVD is a huge opportunity there. One that's not listed on here is also specialized workloads. Being able to kind of avoid the cost of sending like tens and thousands of dollars towards engineers or data engineers that need a graphical interface and a graphical huge processing and things like that for those specialized workloads, to be able to do that remotely, not worrying about delays and like Wi-Fi and things like that. You're using really top-notch hardware, and you're only paying for that when you're using it, and not having to worry about, you know, spending thousands of dollars on shipping that equipment to someone's home and all the risks that involved through that process as well. And so just more so, sorry, my voice is getting a little scratchy here. I should have got some water here. So just looking at more of that partner opportunity, there's a lot of availability when we look at cross industry as well as verticals. So at a high level, you know, Pax8's here to walk you through that process and how you can optimize your costs, optimize your customers' costs, as well as like just working through the benefits of AVD with your customer. We have, you know, a lot of really great relationships, of course, like with Nerdio to make that easier to deploy. We have professional services to help you do that work as well. And then we also have that enablement that I mentioned at the beginning that we'll talk about in a little bit, that helps you with that process, you know, from point A to point B. It's really important to know that all of these scenarios that we've talked about when it comes to verticals and cross industry, I think a lot of times we think of like a huge enterprise being able to benefit from something like AVD, but it's really important to know that these effects and like cost optimization and things like that, and utilizing AVD, that you really can use this for SMB and benefit from that. And Pax8, you know, has done a really great job of educating our partners to make sure that when it comes to SMB, that you're covered and you can use these resources for AVD, and you can be effective in these partner opportunities for your customers to leverage all of the things that AVD has to increase those opportunities as well. And so it makes it easier for you, makes it easier for a customer, and overall we're saving money and learning how to make money in new ways as well. So really great opportunity here for not only enterprise, but for SMB. So looking a little bit further at that opportunity, just kind of starting to tell that story. Potentially, you know, if you're on this call right now, Microsoft Live session, you most likely have these licenses that you're selling to these customers. So Microsoft 365, E3, E5, I'm not going to go through all of them, but even, you know, of course, Microsoft 365 Business Premium, if you're selling these licenses to your customer, there's already a story to be told there because they have entitlements towards Azure Virtual Desktop and that virtualization. So that's kind of a beginning where we can look at those customers and start that story there and uncover any opportunity when we have these discussions and look at like multi-sessions, host pools, and things like that. So when we look at margin optimization as well, that line here of all these icons, that's kind of just focusing on that security with infrastructure and everything. When we look at the opportunity, when we look at margin, those details, you know, you're still having to manage, to deploy and work through these Azure Virtual Desktop solutions. So there's a lot of ways that we can make money. When we go to like the columns below, understanding like dynamic host pooling scaling, only working on, or only, you know, having customers pay for what they're using and not running up costs so that you can actually facilitate more business. There's a huge opportunity there. Discovering reservations, if you're not like working with your customers and understanding like the cost optimizations that you could be selling to hopefully like uncover new opportunities as well. Reservations is a huge potential there as well. And then looking at hybrid usage benefits, kind of, that previous slide when we look at what you have with Windows 10, Windows 11, the opportunity there that you can kind of ease into AVD in that conversation. There's a lot of really great ways that you can save money. And Pax8's helping you enable that through discounts, rebates, incentives. So we got you covered, like I said, from start to finish to helping you uncover these opportunities with AVD. All right, so I told you I would talk about Cloud Ascent data. So I think, the session before Matt, we got some dynamics talk. The session after Matt, I'm talking about Cloud Ascent. So I know I'm making him very happy right now when you talk about customer opportunities. So here's a quick screenshot of your partner center. If you have the right privileges, you can absolutely go into Partner Center and uncover these opportunities with your existing customer base. So if you haven't heard of Cloud Ascent, this is an incredible Microsoft offering that is free within Partner Center. So you can look at your customers' data, not their specific data, but their what Microsoft has gathered about data analytics and everything, based on habits and like previous opportunities that kind of categorize where customers are in their journey and what they would be likely to purchase, in the future. Of course, this works for AVD Dynamics for modern work as well. So there's all cloud approach here. When we look at AVD, you could actually download this data through Excel and work through that and look at customers that are potentially ready to buy as they act now, like high propensity of looking to buy AVD or looking to roll out services for AVD. And if they're not ready, like what bucket they fall in, you'll see there's 4 categories there: act now, evaluate, nurture, and educate. So there's a sales standpoint as well as a marketing standpoint here that you can use this data to understand your customer's journey. And if they're not ready to buy now, then use marketing tactics and strategies that you can actually work towards to get them there in time and make sure that those services are always front of mind when it comes to you providing those additional services there. So specific, there's actually a prescription of Excel data that you could pull from Partner Center that says this customer could use AVD based on what services they already have, based on what services that we see other customers going towards as well. And so you might look at that, and sometimes we get, maybe you're just starting with Azure and you don't have a lot of opportunity within Cloud Ascent. So in that situation, you can still go to Partner Center and build a business profile, and you can actually start receiving AI-built leads that go directly towards you based on the scenarios that you've built in your business profile. So a lot of really, really great opportunity there as well, where if you're trying to build that AVD muscle, you can also work that into your business profile on leads that you might want to see from Microsoft. So using Cloud Ascent data and also looking for Microsoft referrals as well. An important piece on this, though, is if you get a lead that doesn't match what you're looking for, and maybe that's something that you don't want, declining is very important. So accepting and declining shows that response time. So if you're not acting on leads at all, you'll start to see fewer leads, less relevant leads, because it shows that you're not really a responsive partner when it comes to receiving these leads. But even declining shows the AI engine that this was a quick response and it wasn't a good lead. So let's change our algorithm a little bit and start getting that feedback from you, what you approve and what you decline, and make sure that we leverage those leads that are proper for you and that are better fit for your partner base. So that's all based on your business profile. So you get to decide really what those opportunities are. So use that for AVD and build that muscle. And then when we are able to help pull Pax8 Ed, and we have some amazing offerings as well. And so that'll bring me to my last slide here, and that's some offers that we have for US only. There are some offers that are similar global as well. So make sure you talk to your account team to get the full details on the Pax8 Professional Services offering. But yeah, you could have some availability to have discounted services with Pax8 Professional Services, including AVD services as well. So there's it looks like I stopped sharing there. Sorry about that. So this is the offer here. So I'll kind of repeat that there. So deploying new Azure services with Pax8 Professional Services potentially could be discounted there. So have that conversation with your account team. we have migration services that we've offered before with discounted if you're eligible there. So have those conversations with your account team, with your ISC if you're in the US, or your CAM, to learn more about these opportunities that we can kind of uncover with our Pax8 professional services team, and learn more about that before the end of, that's 3 months there of this eligibility there. So a lot of enablement here, a lot of ways that you can kind of attack this. Pax8's here to help from the beginning, as I've said a few times, but whether that be us helping you with workloads, us helping you with like simplifying that process with Nerdio, or us walking you through like just how to be effective with your customer opportunity with ABD, there's just huge potential here. So I think that's where we're kind of wrapping up. If you have any questions, of course, reach out. Be happy to help you out. If you have any questions about customer or Cloud Ascent data and all the offerings with that as well, if you don't see that in Partner Center, definitely reach out to your account team to learn more. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Kristen, so we can take it away.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Caleb. So much good information there. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the amount of data that comes out of this class. Data is just so impactful. So please make sure you reach out to your account team with any of those questions. We've got to talk about Beyond because it is creeping up on us. It is already April. We are so excited to be hosting Beyond. So please make sure that you are going to this website, check out the sessions. Rob Ray is going to be hosting it. It is going to be just such a huge, impactful event. I know I'll be here. A lot of the presenters that you saw today, they will also be here as well. We've got Microsoft, we've got big speakers, we've got AWS. There's so much stuff that's going to come together. So please make sure that you are registering. We look forward to seeing you there. On our next slide, we're going to go through our hands-on labs. So these are US based, and I want to make sure that Canada as well, but these are for April and May. You can scan this little QR code. We've got a little link down here, but please make sure you're signing up. These are zero charge for you. They are pure value. Want to make sure that if you see one of these that's relevant to you and your business, please make sure that you sign up. We will reserve you that spot, and we look forward to continuing on these hands-on labs. Want to go through a couple of resources. I'm so sorry. Here we go. Resources. So I know we talked a lot about the Copilot announcement. We talked about Dropsuite. I did want to mention with Dropsuite, there is an offer that's out right now, and it's 1 month free. This is a great time for you to connect to your account team, learn more about those terms and conditions of that offer. But that is something that they are doing in partnership with us at Pax8 right now. There's also your GDAP walking deck. We've got landing pages that just launched and additional information for FX rates. But I want to make sure if there's any additional questions, I know we've been going through them on the back end. I don't see too many, but please feel free to pop those in and we will continue answering. I did see one from Roger, if there's going to be a version in our Action Pack subscription. So I think that one is for you, Caleb. Are you aware, or should we take that one offline? Maybe we'll take that one offline. All right, everybody, please make sure that you are registering for this next upcoming event. We will still be around on the back end, so you can continue to pop in a couple of those questions, but I want to say thank you so much for joining. Like I said, these are going to be every single month. We try to do them that first Monday, but give and take a little bit with some holidays and all of that good stuff. But thanks so much for spending your Monday morning with us here at Pax8 to go through some Microsoft updates. We will see you again soon. Bye, everybody.